let's go new project, just so we can start from the beginning. These are our material settings. So we've got 81.77 for the stock on the X, and then 148.48 on the Y, and then on the Z height we're looking at 6.4, and then we selected aluminum. You can come over here and use the tool feature. I'll use that one because that's what I used before. We'll go down and find our relief, hit open. It brings it in, and then we're going to left click on that and then right click and go to transform. We're going to go to rotate and go down to the YZ plane and go -90. And then let's go to scale while we're here, and let's go up to width 85. And you notice it's linked X, Y, and Z, so we'll hit enter there. Scales it. And then let's go to move, but I'm going to change my view, so I'll go over here to the navigation cube. We'll click on the right plane so we can see this. And you can see it fits just within the surface, just underneath it. And that's fine, but I'm going to move it just a little bit down, closer to the bottom of the stock. Let's go to move, and right here in the Z, let's go to -3.5, and I think that'll take us in the right direction down. Yeah, so we're right there flush on the stock. It gives us a little leeway at the top in case we did our measurements wrong, but they should be fairly accurate. Just going to scroll back here so you can kind of see where we've got it placed. I'm going to left click on that and select our relief, and then we're going to go over here to our 3D path, left click on 3D relief, and we're going to use all these settings here. Notice it's already got our tool bit selected from the last one. We're going to add a tool in just a second. We've got our step down because this is aluminum, and that's what it's set for on aluminum, so we'll leave that. We want model boundary selected. We want parallel inside boundary on this one, so we don't go too far, too close to our stock. And then on ramping, we'll give it a 10 and a fixed angle of 3, and then we would calculate just to show you what had happened. All right, so here's our path for the second tool. So we would have generated the first path. I always like to look to make sure it's going down far enough. So a good way to do that is to go over to this right view, and you want to see that it comes down to the part that you want to mill. This is just tool 2. So what I did there is I changed the start depth to go down just a little further because we were using a new tool. There's our clearance height, retract height, exactly the same as the first. There's the tool that we used, and so when we went to go add it, we just hit add tool, and we brought this one in. This is our first one that we started with to rough it out, and then we use this one. Both are made for metal. You can see if we select this, it'll say aluminum on each one of those. Oh, actually we went to this one, the 12 millimeter for the aluminum. So that was tool 4, and then we used tool 2 here for the second, and then you would have chosen it, but I've already done that. Now I created a second file because when I made the first pass after roughing, I used the second tool. I had it set up with that first G code, and it was just hovering. And you'll see in the video where I noticed the tool collar wasn't pressed in enough, and that was from the factory, like I hadn't changed anything. So I used the tool to press that you would use to change the collar, to press that collar in fully, and then when I restarted it, it's flushing it out just fine. So that's why you don't see both tools here. This was the second tool, but I used all the same setups that I did on the first, except I didn't do a step down. I did with the roughing pass because I didn't want it just plunging into the metal. So we did step downs on the first tool, but not this one. We did model boundary. We did inside boundary. And then we calculated. I'm not going to do that again because it's already set. And then you would, once everything is set the way you want, you go export. And on that first one I had 2 tools, but I had to go back and redo this one so that I could get the detail out of it. But you would see 2 tools and you would select those and then export, and that'll export your G code to my Carvera. Select my machine. Go down here and open the G code. You can upload the file. I'll do that just so that you can see. So you want to go down and select the one that you want to open. Let's just do this one. That was the second path. So this is where I had to go through. Make sure you don't select the MKC. It's a good idea not to save these in the same location, which I'm making that mistake because it takes forever to upload these and then it's not going to work in your machine because that was your Makera cam file. You want the G code and then upload and select and then hit confirm. It says it already exists because we just used it. And then once it's there, go start running, work origin. Now, if you've just got the stock in, you would keep the scan margin. I was doing the auto leveling and I was just doing clearance height of 2 and then 3 points. So for it to check and then hitting OK. That's when I first started with the roughing pass. For tool 2, since I did a separate pass on that, and I had to create a separate G-code file for it, the one that we just imported, I turned off auto leveling, auto Z probe, and scan margin. And then I just set 0 for X, 0 for Y, anchor 1, because that's the same setting I had before. And it was able to go through. You know the stock is where it needs to be, and it'll work just fine doing that. So if anything ever messes up from a roughing pass and your tool 2 is not making contact or you have some sort of issue and you want to start from tool 2, you can use this, and it worked fine for me. Alright, so I had to run that Toolpath again. So if you look, you can see a slight line. I'll try to zoom in here. And what happened was the collar was moved too far forward, and I never noticed that. So that's what was throwing the tool bit off. The reason it was just hovering just above is because that collar was too far forward. So I use this tool here to push the collar back up to its position because it'll only go to where that collar needs to be. So that's what you would use. Alrighty, I think it's done. There we go. Kind of hard to see there. All right, there you go.